Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody's week is off to a wonderful start. Today's video is a get ready with me as I play around with the brand new Chantecaille Polar Ice eyeshadow palette. It is so beautiful. I just reviewed this whole collection on my channel, but this palette is so much fun. It's so colorful and there's lots of shimmer, so very intimidating unless you kind of play around with it. So I've been having a lot of fun creating different looks, including this one today. So if you'd like to see how I achieved this makeup look, just keep watching. Today I'm starting with my eyes, so I'm just going to prep my lids as I usually do with my Chanel concealer. Just a couple dots, and then I'm going to blend it out with my Sigma tapered kabuki brush. And this just creates a nice smooth canvas. It evens out the skin tone so that you get truer colors from whatever you put on top. The Chantecaille palette by itself is so beautiful, but all 9 shadows have some sort of luminosity to intense foil holographic shimmer. So I like to start with something more matte in the crease. So I'm going to pick up my Norvina palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I'm going to take the brush that comes with it, the fluffy side, and I'm starting by going into this shade Soul. So this is a pretty sort of periwinkle color, and these are incredibly pigmented, so I know that I have to be very light-handed. And I'm just going to very slowly, very softly kind of create a transition in the crease. I love the Chantecaille palette. That would be my only maybe caveat, is that there are no matte shades, so you sort of have to pick up something else if you want to do something matte in the crease. You need another palette. You could always use bronzer, but it's a cool toned palette, so that's why I wanted to go into this instead. Of course, you guys know I'll use bronzer in the crease just about every time, but I wanted to do something cool toned since it's a cool toned palette. I might go back to that color later on, but now I can put this down and pick up the real star of the show, which is of course the beautiful Chantecaille Polar Ice palette. And I'm actually going to start with a flat shader brush. I'm picking up this middle peach shade right here. And I'm just going to apply that all over the lid. I'm trying to recreate the look that I did for my review of this palette. I'd played around with it a few times before I filmed, and each time I think I got a little bit overwhelmed and I ended up going into too many colors, and I haven't really created a signature look from the palette just yet, but I was really happy with the way that turned out. So that's kind of my inspiration for today's look. There's virtually no fallout from using that shadow. It applies very smooth. And since I took it up to the crease, I just want to go ahead and touch up that first shade that we did to make sure it doesn't get too metallic and kind of build up that blue color. And I'm really concentrating it on the outside. Using the same brush, I'm picking up my, I want to say my favorite shade in the palette, but there are so many. This gold shade right here in the top corner is so beautiful, and I'm just going to pop that right in the center. And now that I have the top pretty much done, I'm just going to build up the outside corner a little bit more, because that's where our deep dimension comes from. You don't really have any dark colors in this palette for creating not smoky but darker looks, and plus they all have shimmer and sparkle, so it's not really what I'm looking for in the crease. So I'm just going to build that up a little bit more, and then we're really sort of done for the top. There's really not much fallout, a few little sparkles, but nothing crazy. I'm gonna do my best to just dust them away. And now for face. I've already prepped my skin. I used my skincare regimen and then Dior Dream Skin. Now I'm going to use the Chantecaille Future Skin Foundation today. Usually I would lean towards more of a medium full coverage, more matte foundation whenever I'm doing a shimmery eye or a more dramatic eye. Not that this is super dramatic, but today I just want to keep it a little bit more natural and glowy. The Future Skin is very beautiful since it's 60% water. It feels very cool and hydrating on the skin, but it doesn't have a ton of coverage, so I always have to go in with a few extra little dots and build up the coverage a little bit more. And I'm just applying a little Chanel concealer. A lot of Chanel concealer. I'm also using it to highlight the center points of my face. This has been my favorite concealer ever since they reformulated a while ago now. It's really, really good. I think it's the only thing that has good coverage, but I also really like the finish. The old formula was a little bit too matte and too drying, whereas this one's a little bit softer. I still like to set it with a powder, but the coverage is very beautiful and I don't find that it creases. Now I know we're not done yet, so it looks a little bit crazy, but I must say I really love the combination of the Future Skin Foundation with the Chanel concealer because I have a lighter, more natural looking foundation, but then I get the full coverage of the concealer, so I think the two work really well together so that I get coverage just in the places where I want a little bit more coverage, like to give that flawless eye area, but then overall it doesn't look too heavy or feel too heavy. Today I am using my loose powder from Chanel. I've been on this luminous powder kick lately, so I've been using a lot of the Armani Microfill Pink powder, but because our eyes are very luminous and glowy and shimmery, I wanted to use a more flat powder. So this one is so nice because it doesn't give you luminosity, but it's so finely milled that it does give the appearance of airbrushed skin. It's not too cakey, it just sort of goes wherever it needs to be and then the rest just dusts off. I never feel like I look too matte or too overly powdered whenever I use this powder. And of course I always like to tap up any excess from the brush. To warm up my skin today, I'm using my Laura Mercier Baked Bronzer. This is the shade 3 Bronze. And I'm just going to kind of bronze. I'm not doing any hard contour or anything like that. Just bronzing the way I normally would to add a little warmth back. Next, I'm using the Chantecaille Cheek Gelée Hydrating Gel Cream Blush in the shade Happy. I talked about this in one of my favorites videos. It's so good. It's a beautiful cream blush. I like that it's so blendable and it's very light, so I never have to worry about applying too much. And I'm actually going to use a dual fiber brush to just blend that out. It also doesn't break up the product, so even though I powdered my face, I don't have to be worried that it's going to break through that powder and create splotchiness. It just sort of blends because it is a lighter weight formula. I'm going into my Laura Mercier Devotion Face Illuminator. I haven't picked this up in so long, but I saw it recently and I picked it back up and I just fell in love with it again. I've obviously used a lot of it. I haven't quite hit pan, but I'm getting very close. I love how it has just a beautiful pink tone to it. And I think it's a really good match for this eye look that we're doing, which is, of course, sort of icy and ethereal. Now to finish the eyes, I'm taking this little precision brush and I'm picking up this gold shade right here. Sort of carefully, because the shadows are a little bit soft, like a little piece just kind of fell just then. So you have to be sort of careful. And I'm going to put this in the inner tear duct area. You could wet your brush to make sure that any little flecks don't fall on your cheeks. I probably should do that, but I'm gonna be sort of lazy, at least for this part. And I'm going right in the center. I guess inner. Not the center, the inside. Inside, that's the word I was looking for. I usually don't film get ready with me videos for that very reason. I end up stumbling over my words and I get really flustered and insecure, and I just don't like to do it. But I'm drying it out. So because I didn't wet my brush, I don't know if you can really tell, but I'm sort of smoothing it and packing it on. I'm really sort of pressing it into that area. Using my Sigma Precision Tapered P86, I think the P stands for petite because it is the baby version of the F86. So this is the face and then this is the baby version. I like to use this to go in and touch up the little creases underneath my eyes that sometimes concealer will settle there while I'm still getting ready, and it just helps pick up any excess product. And then I usually don't see any more creasing throughout the day as long as I make sure to pick it up at this point in the makeup process. Because it does happen. I mean, I have fine lines around my eyes. Those aren't going anywhere. It happens with age. So as long as you don't use too much product, if you do, this will pick it up and then you should be fine. Now that it's nice and smooth, I'm gonna finish up. So now I think I am going to be right back. I'm going to wet my brush. I'm no longer being stubborn for this next part. I just grabbed my Caudalie Beauty Elixir. This is a very popular product. I'm gonna be using this to set my face. So I'm also going to just spritz my brush, and you can see the mist is very fine. And next, oh, it smells so nice. I'm going into this blue shadow right here. So that's why I definitely wanted to go ahead and wet my brush, because if gold sparkles fall on my cheeks, no big deal. Blue sparkles, then it becomes an issue. So with the same precision brush, I'm going to start lining the rest of the under eye area, and this is sort of our pop of color. Not only is wetting the brush going to help the shadow adhere exactly, exactly where I want it to, but it will also kind of help the intensity of the shadow. My apologies if you hear my dog barking or my husband coughing. He's been incredibly sick over the past couple days. I just heard him in the kitchen. I was thinking to myself, I don't mind if you hear him coughing, but if he starts slamming dishes around, we're gonna have to pause this video so we can have a discussion. I'm going to pick up this icy shade, which if you watched my review, I said these are foiled shadows. These are more medium intensity sparkle, and then these are supposed to have the lightest amount of luminosity. This color though, it definitely is luminous, and it has bluish icy reflex. So it looks very white in the pan, but it actually has a very cool blue shimmer to it. And just very lightly, very lightly, I'm just going to use that as like my brow highlight. because it is such a unique shadow. Okay, so now I'm going to fill in my eyebrows and do liquid eyeliner on top, and I'm going to create a small wing, and I will be right back. Okay, I am back and we are almost finished. I'm just going to coat my lashes with the YSL Baby Doll Mascara. This has been my go-to mascara lately. I try to use one mascara up at a time, but it never fails that I always have a rotation of several, and then I feel like they end up drying out, getting goopy before I'm able to properly use them up because I'm using so many. So I'm trying to stick with one at a time, at least for now, and this has been doing the job just perfectly. Finished. Okay, so lashes are now done. The last thing we have to do are lips. And I decided since we have a little pop of blue on the eyes, I wanted to stay neutral. So I picked up my YSL Rouge Per Couture in the shade number 70 Le Nude, which is one of my favorite nude lipsticks. I wear this all the time. It's so nice because these all have mango butter, so they have a really beautiful smell, and they're so smooth and hydrating on the lips. It just feels really, really hydrating. And then I am going to top that off with what's left of my Charm lip gloss. I am really taking this down to the very last little bit. You can see it's very empty, and I'm still debating whether or not to replace it with the same one, get Charm again, or if I should get Modern, which is slightly different. It's a little bit more nude with a pink luminosity with it. It's really pretty. But all of these glosses are incredibly sheer anyhow, so I'm sure the difference on the lips is indetectable, but I'm just not sure what to do. Perfect, lips are done. And now I am going to set my face, which is something that I do for special occasions. If I'm running out the door, to be quite honest, I don't set my face every single day. I don't do a full glam like this every single day. But today, especially because we have some glitter shimmer on the eyes, I'm gonna go ahead and set my face, and I am going to use the Caudalie Beauty Elixir Smoothing Glowing Complexion Spray. This was sent to me complimentary to review from Caudalie, but this is one of their most popular products. It truly has a cult following. This is the little mini, which I love because it is a glass bottle, but it's still relatively nice to travel with. You could put it in like a little slip cover and throw it in your purse, or just keep it in your desk, keep it in your car. And it's nice because it's very refreshing and it has really lovely ingredients. It smells incredible. 100% natural. I mean, it's paraben free. Lots of good stuff in it, but I really love it. So I'm just gonna spray this. And it smells relaxing. Ooh! It's a very fine mist. It's so nice. So I highly recommend. And of course it does come in a larger size, but I love this for just taking it everywhere, and just the ease and convenience of the smaller bottle is really, really nice. Something that I did notice, and it's not a deal breaker whatsoever, but in the last few times that I have played around with this palette, whether or not I use this blue shade, whether or not I use any of them, the ones with the larger pieces of shimmer do tend to fall throughout the day. So it's not something you might see right off the bat, but if I'm looking at my cheeks, there are a few pieces where I can see, just from batting your eyelashes, from moving around, even if you wet your brush, eventually the product is going to dry down, and then it might fall. So that to me is not a big deal, but something worth mentioning, because if you're somebody who doesn't really like shimmer, you don't really like glittery shadows, but you're thinking about getting this anyway, that's something that you might run into. I think there are ways and things that you can do to minimize that from happening, but it's just something, and that happens with every shadow, so it's absolutely nothing against these shadows. It's just something that you might have to worry about or think about depending on the occasion or what look you're going to do. You may not want to have to worry about dusting off your cheeks, but not a big deal whatsoever. I'm so happy with all of the colors and how they perform. I'm really excited to keep playing around with this palette. I think it's always nice, especially with something like this that is so particular. This is probably not something that you're gonna pick up every single day, although I did say in my review, and I will stand by my words, I think you could use this every single day, but just by the look of it, I mean, it's so beautiful. The color story, it's probably something that you're gonna keep for weekends or special occasions. That being said, it's really nice to have a couple go-to looks, so you're not just pulling this out and thinking, I have no idea where to begin, what to do with this palette. You get overwhelmed and then you shove it in your drawer and you never use it. So if this is something that you're gonna purchase, I would suggest sitting down and playing with it. Come up with a couple looks that are your looks that you love, so that whenever you do pick this out and you do decide that this is something that you're going to use for the day, you already know exactly what you're going to do. You can just whip it out and feel really comfortable and confident in the look you're about to create. And this could be one of them. I'm very happy with how this turned out. It has a little bit of color to it. I mean, the jewel tone with the blue and then like the periwinkle purple, but it's still very wearable and very fun. And now I need to finish my hair and get ready for work and get out the door. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Leave me any of your comments or your questions down below. Of course, I will be linking all of the products that I use down in the description box for your convenience. And I'm also going to include any information you need to know on the upcoming incentives, because Chantecaille has a gift. There's a Nordstrom double points coming up. There's so much going on and I don't want you to miss out. So that is also going to be down below in the description box if you're interested. And for more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe.